Anyways, welcome to the Flip Side, episode 30, the big 30, which is great because that's Victoria's age. So it's the perfect episode for her. I have Victoria, aka Super Geeked. Welcome to the Flip Side.
I was supposed to be on in 30 years and you let me come on early.
Okay, we know that's not true. Okay, I may have also lied, but I don't think you're 60 either. So I don't know about that.
Well, you told me I was going to have to wait 30 years to be
Oh,
invited,
I did tell you that, but a spot opened up, so you
which I
got
might
invited
be
a little
dead.
earlier.
I could be dead by then.
She could be dead by tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know how life works. But this is I know you've been like wanting this, you've been dreaming about this.
Oh,
You saw
yeah.
your friend Gorgeous come on, you saw your friend Bob Bies come on, you're like, yo, what's going on? What am I, chopped liver over here? Isn't that what you said? Right, word for
Ac-
word?
Actually, I watched Bob's today.
Oh, in prep for what I'm gonna ask you.
No, she's an easier like hangout than me anyway. She's a lot of fun.
Well, you don't think you're a lot of fun?
Sometimes
I
I
think
can
you're a
be
lot of
pretty
fun.
immature.
Well, I feel like that might be needed sometimes. We still reference your in and out joke with the draft crew every single time it comes up. It was a memorable moment. There's like a very few memorable moments in the draft. That in and out joke was one of them. So congrats.
Well, I have a funny story about that. So I told my kids about it, and they're 8 and 9. And we were going to school one day, and
Oh
they
boy.
said, "Mom, we're pretty sure that some of the kids at our school are more mature than you are." I said, "Why would you say that?" And they said, "Well, you did say I was in and out your mom on YouTube." And I said, "Okay, well, point
I mean,
taken."
it is out there. People can still go back and watch. I sometimes go back and rewind and just watch everybody's just like reaction, and like it's legit. Like my jaw's on the floor, Ray's jaw's on the floor, TJ's jaw's on the floor, and Alicia's like, "Yep, that's Victoria." That's. I
I
mean,
think Alicia was a little shocked too, just that I had said it on YouTube. Because she knows me in person, so she knows how I can be. But she was probably thinking, like, really, like, really.
I think it was great. I personally think it was a great moment. So thank you for it.
You're very welcome. I tame myself down for YouTube a lot, so
Oh, okay. You did tell me that you might be a little tipsy tonight, so I don't know if I can control you though. So I don't know how that's going to work.
yeah. Well, mom cocktails. There's nobody in the house. Josh even left for jujitsu, so
Man,
nobody's
it's
here.
just me and you in an empty house.
Yeah, I can act up.
Eh. What is in a mom cocktail? What is in there?
Oh, it's sad. It's just vodka and Red Bull.
Oh wow, you dang, that's like the college days, man. Vodka Red Bull. You trying to party tonight or something? You trying to stay up late?
Well, Josh said if I get done in 2 hours, that we'll make a fire before he has to go to sleep because he has to go to the fire department in the morning. So,
Make a fire? What do you mean? Like burn your house down?
yeah, no, we have a fire pit in the backyard.
Oh, okay. I thought you needed like some work or something. You're like, let's make a fire so I can have to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, we start a fire and then he practices being a firefighter.
That's what I figured. I don't know. I don't know how it goes down. I don't know what you guys do for fun in Mississippi. I don't know how it works.
It's very boring here, so we just light shit on fire and that's it.
That sounds accurate. I think you're also. I'm gonna have to go back and see. I think you're my first guest from Mississippi. So congratulations on that.
Oh wow,
That's something, right? I,
there's
I gotta I gotta have a map of like of the whole country and see who I got. But I'm pretty sure you're number one for Mississippi. So congrats to that.
you keep a map.
No, a map in my head.
Yeah,
So you
that
got
sounds kind of nerdy that you keep a map of every guest
Virginia,
that you have on.
Illinois. That's Colorado. That's Florida. That's South Carolina. That's Michigan. That's Texas. North Carolina. Australia. Florida. Texas. Ohio. Massachusetts. Virginia. Canada. Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Texas. Where's Vegas? What state is Vegas? Is Nevada,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Illinois, Tennessee, Missouri, New Jersey. Yeah. First one from Mississippi. That's you. So congratulations. You're representing the state. So don't embarrass them. The whole state's watching. And
They're embarrassed already.
You are their ambassador, so don't please. You are their
hard.
delegator.
It's not hard to embarrass Mississippi at all.
Oh,
well, they say that there's actually a division because a lot of people will say, "Oh, you don't have an accent." So
you don't have an accent.
But if you go north of the interstate, which is I-10, I-10 runs all the way from Florida to California. If you go north of I-10, yes, if you go north of I-10, there's like a real like redneck accent, like everybody's like
redneck, like that. You sound like that, really? Okay.
But we're situated right between New Orleans and like Mobile, Pensacola, Florida. So we're all kind of like a different area.
Oh, you're like the bougie part is what you're trying to say.
No, we're cool.
Like that Family Guy meme, where where Meg goes back and they're like all like wearing like their monocles and their top hats. You're saying you're that part of Mississippi is what you're trying to say.
I'm saying the rest of the state does not even like to claim us because we're so different from them. They don't even like to fund like projects we have with like federal money they get, because we're totally different. We're totally different breed down here on the Gulf Coast, and it's you just have to experience it. I'm telling you, you go an hour north of here and it's totally different world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't like I-10 pretty low? Like it doesn't go like half. It just barely cuts you guys off, right? Like I don't think it really.
It goes right north of Biloxi. There's a city north of us called D'Iberville, and it cuts through D'Iberville. So, which used to be North Biloxi. So like everything, south of the interstate, because we're on the beach. I mean, we have casinos, lots of entertainment, family friendly stuff, like whatever. And so
you said casinos and family friendly in the same.
Yeah. Sentence? Well, they want to bring people down. They bring people down on buses and airlines have special rates to come down here. And they have a bunch of like, we have a Margaritaville that's only like
rest in peace
park, video, like arcade, things like that. No casino.
Okay.
So they market to families too, because for a long time, a lot of the people when we first got the casinos didn't come in until the 90s. But when the casinos came in, they started marketing to families too. So they wanted to have a lot of families.
That makes sense. You can't really drop off your kids at daycare at the casino and just go gamble.
Hey, we used to get dropped off at the arcade. My dad would go to the casino and they would leave us there all night. Like we'd be there till like they closed at like midnight, and like they had like motion rides and stuff, and like your parent, I mean, like, shouldn't that be against the law just to leave?
I mean, I don't think you can do it now, but I'm sure back then.
Yeah, back then, because I'm so old.
Yeah, I know. Way back during Prohibition times, you could do whatever you want. But
you got
so like what do you mean? Like they just dropped you off? Like they give you like unlimited amount of cash, or did you like you're like, oh, I only got $20. I have 8 hours to spend. Like I had to limit myself at these arcade machines.
Well, way back then, stuff didn't cost a lot of money.
Back in my day, you can buy a candy bar for a nickel.
I don't remember how much money my dad gave me, but he left me there. I mean, but I loved pinball, so I'd sit there at the pinball machine or do the motion rides, and they just. I mean, that's how Tanya came here from working, doing casino stuff. So.
I thought you said that's how Tanya. She also got left at the arcade machine.
No,
that's how me and her became so close. We had both traumatized childhoods, being left alone for 8 hours.
No, I don't know about that, but actually we met through Alicia because Alicia stalked us all. And
I heard Alicia's a master stalker. That's one of her many skills.
Yeah, she went on Poshmark and tried to find people who lived locally, who had big closets, I guess, who were selling a lot of stuff. and she
You
messaged.
make her sound like quite the creeper. Can
Let
you
me tell
even
you,
search by area on Poshmark? Can you like
you
put
could,
your
you can. I mean, you could have. I don't know about now. I haven't checked in a while, but you used to be able to search by city or by your area. And she found me, Tanya, a bunch of other people, and she had messaged me and said something about hosting a posh and sip.
Oh, I had Becky Park on recently, and she told me about the passion sips and
Yeah,
how
we
they
used to
were
get.
very Amway-esque, kind of like pyramid scheming.
Well, if you did a bunch of them, you got like $100 and stuff. So we used to do. Alicia and I would trade off every month.
just for a $100 credit.
Yeah, because all we did was hang out, but that's how we met. So we hosted the first Posh and Sip down here or whatever together, and that's the first time I met Alicia. I thought she was going to be really like, I don't know, like
Not tiny.
no, not. I wasn't going to say anything about her height, but
Yes, you were,
I thought she was going to be like a sweet little Southern girl, like
and she
just.
wasn't.
And she, we clicked. Tanya was there at the first Posh and Sip, and we all became friends. So
There you go.
it was kind of organic, the way it all happened. And it's funny because I probably would, because I'm older than her, obviously.
Way older.
And yeah, shut up. But we probably would have never crossed paths if it wouldn't had been for that. And
Well, she
now
doesn't.
we're
Yeah, Alicia doesn't go to the retirement home that often, so yeah, she probably wouldn't have really run into you.
I'm not
So
that
that's
old.
not somewhere she goes quite a bit. So now I'm sure you guys would have crossed paths, probably at the casino or something. I'm sure you guys would have
I
seen
don't
each
go to
other.
the casinos, so that
Oh,
wouldn't happen.
you don't do the casino lifestyle, and you live in Biloxi?
I do not. Tanya loves the casinos. Alicia loves the buffets. But I do not go to the casinos unless I'm like going to hang out with them or Jesse's in town or something like that,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I do not go to the casinos. So
Okay. I haven't gone in a while, but I got the itch. Get the itch. I'm more of like a poker guy. If I go out, I play poker. I don't play any of the slots or table games. Just poker.
I like the slot machines that have like the videos and they have the vibrating seats.
What is showing these videos that the seats vibrate, huh?
Well, they have Willy Wonka's one of them. That's like this whole podcast could be a hot mess.
Leave it to Victoria to mention vibrating seats 12 minutes in. She was like, I don't go straight to vibrating seats. I don't care.
They had a Simpsons one that was really fun that they took out, which I was so mad because that
Why
was
did they
fun.
get out?
I don't know. They rotate the machines. You have to ask Tanya. She knows more. She knows more about casinos than I do.
She's the casino. When I have her on in 30 years, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
30 years ago, Victoria asked me to ask you this. So here's the question. All right, so give the people that maybe don't know who Super Geeked is, even though you're huge on YouTube. By the way, congrats on 10K. 10K is a big number. I don't know where you are now. Hopefully, you're still above it. I don't know.
Oh, I'm still above it. I think the 10K was driven by that. I had a viral video about an eBay suspension, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But basically, I'm a reseller. I got thrown into reselling. Well, I take that back. I've been reselling.
I got thrown into reselling. I
got thrown into reselling as my career, as my full time. Well, I wouldn't even say it's full time, but as my job, because I had a normal job and everything. But I've been reselling since the late 90s. So I got on eBay in the infancy years, back when you could mail a check to somebody or a money order.
Yep.
And
man, you're old.
Yeah, I am. And awesome.
It's funny. I had so you're my second interview of the day because I'm going away on vacation. So I'm preparing for the next couple of weeks. And the girl I had earlier than you also started eBay in the 90s with money orders and checks. So it was the dark ages, as we call it. This was the dark ages. Well, also, that was a huge freaking cup. Is that the vodka Red Bull that's in that cup?
No, that's my water.
I was gonna say, holy moly. That's
No, so I actually left eBay for a while in the early 2000s because they changed their policy. It was terrible trying to get somebody to pay for something back in the day.
even more terrible than now?
Oh, way worse, way worse. And so used to be where you could leave negative feedback for a buyer if they didn't pay
Oh,
or anything. Well, they changed all that and they took all that away. And a
yes,
bunch
they
of eBay
did.
sellers got really mad and left. And very quickly after that, they launched Etsy, which I only sold vintage and antiques at that point because I've always been a collector of mid-century modern. So
Yes.
because that's what I have. I mean, my whole house is mid-century modern. I have like boomerang countertops and like people say it
Mm.
smells like their grandma's house because
Your
because
house smells like a grandmother's house?
well, all my
I don't
furniture.
think I don't think it's a compliment.
No, it's good. It reminds them of their happy memories of their childhood, with their
Oh, okay. It's a good spin zone. I like it.
but everything, like all my furniture's mid-century era, like that's just my thing. I've been a collector since I was like 10 years old. So for me, reselling, which it wasn't really called reselling at that point, but it was a natural transition to I would cycle through, things I was selling, and things I was keeping for myself, and then I'd make room for new things that I was bringing in by selling it on eBay. And then I met Josh, and I started selling all his Star Wars toys from his childhood and his Transformers. And
Josh is your husband, not Harry
yes,
Tornado.
and I don't know
Okay.
why he still married me after I sold all his childhood toys, but
Did he
I
give
made.
you permission, or did you just do it behind his back?
I just told him I was going to do it.
Oh, okay. Maybe he was just ready to move on. Maybe that's
Look,
why.
he's a go with the flow kind of dude, so he was just like, okay, whatever. But but I didn't plan on being reselling my main income. I've just done it off and on for so long, and this is a weird story. So I worked for a school district for 10 years, and I became a whistleblower. If you Google my name, you can find out all about it.
What did
Um,
what'd you snitch on them for?
so this is the first time I've ever talked about this, Paul, because I was in a
Whoa.
lawsuit for 4.5 years. Um, I told on what happened in my department. So I got hired at the school district as a secretary for the child nutrition department, and I managed all the federal applications, like for free and reduced lunches, and anything that had to do with that federal funding and everything for that department. Well, then they found out very quickly that I was good with computers. I moved on to managing our uh, purchasing software, hardware. The only thing I didn't do was like installs. The tech guys would come out and do like drops in the ceilings. I
Hmm.
managed our servers.
Dang.
All of our
Where'd you learn how
PO.
to do that?
Huh?
Where'd you learn how to do that?
Because I'm old and back. So I'm in a sub generation. Like I'm not a Gen Xer. I'm not old enough to be a Gen Xer. And I'm
Nah,
not,
millennial.
yeah, I'm not a millennial. So they call us Zennials. We're right in between. It's a sub generation. We were born into an era with no computers. When we were in
Yes.
elementary school, computers were introduced. We saw the first cell phones, the first personal computers. We grew up. So we're like a sub generation because our technology basis was so vast because like I build websites. I learned coding because we had to code everything. Of course, now they have so many apps that anybody can
Yeah.
do
I can't
design.
code to save my life. So
Well, I went to school for graphic design. It was called graphic communications back then, but all that computer basis. I mean, I grew up with computers, but we saw the evolution of it, I guess, is what it was. So I just knew because I had taught myself, I'd learned over the
wow.
years.
So
And
you,
so
all that stuff you taught yourself. That's pretty impressive.
yes, so I took over the computer systems in the school district. Anyway, in our department, they basically took a bunch of federal funds and purchased things for the superintendent's daughter's wedding.
I
So
figured as soon as you said whistleblower, it's gonna be something with embezzlement or
yeah, it
something like
was it
that.
was
So
federal money that's supposed to go to feed the kids in the school district, and they used it for other reasons. And there's a lot more to it. There's like it's so long. I couldn't even tell you in this whole podcast. It's so big. I was not the only whistleblower, but all the other whistleblowers were at the administration building where the superintendent and the CFO was housed. And I was alone with the people I turned in. And the school
Did they
board,
know it was you?
well, they found out because the school board gave a list to the superintendent, and one of the things on there was something I did. They knew immediately was me. And
Wow.
the superintendent locked my mother in his office because she was his secretary, and threatened,
What?
yeah, and threatened her, and basically said, well, who turned this in, knowing it was me. And so it was like this whole thing. So I started getting retaliated against, and it ended up being they fired me. I filed a federal lawsuit on violation of my First Amendment rights because I wrote a letter to the school board saying, I've worked for you for 10 years. I have like A plus like ratings every
Yeah.
single year from my boss. I've never done anything wrong. I don't get in trouble. I don't start anything. I mind my own business and do my job. And you put me in a situation where now I'm being retaliated against. And so we ended up settling the lawsuit, and it was finally over in March of this year. So this is like the first, like,
Oh,
I've,
holy moly. It was that
yeah,
long.
yeah.
Man.
So the reason I got thrown into reselling was because I was out on medical leave because I had serious mental breakdown. I mean, my whole life changed overnight. I
Oh,
lost my
for sure.
job, my
Yeah.
career, all my friends that I worked with for 10 years. And my friend said, don't you have like a bunch of stuff left over from when you worked at the Victoria's Secret website? Because I used to live in Ohio. And I said, oh, yeah, because we had all these employee sales. I had all this brand new Victoria's Secret stuff, new with tags.
No.
When they first launched Pink, I had a whole bunch of stuff from then. And she's like, there's this
Dang.
website called Poshmark. I'd never even heard of it. So I was like, okay, I need money because I'm out on medical leave, and I started listing stuff that was in my house. And the first thing sold for $40. And I was like, oh, okay.
It became like a gotcha. I'm like, oh,
I had
wow.
never
Okay.
sold clothing before, Paul.
Yeah.
Like I'd always sold antiques, and and that's what kind of led the doorway to selling clothing. And now I'm such heavy on the clothing seller because, of this whole situation that happened. So
Dang.
that's how I became like, this is my main job. And it's worked out, I mean, everything's kind of closed with
Way to
my
turn lemonade from lemons. That's a lot of people would get defeated by that and then not want to do anything. So it's a good thing you got bounced back on your feet. And look at you now. I bet you that guy's probably watching you still. The principal's probably watching.
The best thing was I had a 10-hour deposition with 5 defense attorneys grilling me. And one of the main defense attorney who was for the insurance company for the school district said, I watched your YouTube videos.
Look at
And
that.
for the first time all day, I smiled. I said, you did? And he's like, yeah. He goes, do you do that all by yourself? And I said, oh, yeah, I record them. I, edit them. I upload it. He's like, oh, yeah. So, and then he was asking me questions about things I'd done in my videos and people I used to have on the channel and stuff. And I was like, he really did watch.
Dang. What was he trying? Was he watching just to get information out of you, or do you think it was just
Oh, I'm sure they were
intrigued?
looking for anything to come after me for.
Yeah.
So that's what attorneys do. So, but I thought it was cool that he like watched my
Yeah, he should have said, thanks for the watch hours. He should have said that.
yeah.
So, can you tell us what happened with the people that were doing this? Did they get in trouble?
Nothing happened. We had 15 whistleblowers that went to the state auditor in Mississippi, and they chose not to do anything. So
Wow.
yeah,
15 people, and they
yeah,
still said
15 different departments.
how
We're
how much
talking.
how much money was stolen here?
It's a lot, and there were things, Paul, that came out when my attorneys subpoenaed for things. Because we subpoenaed for the state auditor report 3 times. The first one, they gave us the same letter, like a generic letter. The second time, they gave us only what I turned in and a couple of other things. The third time, they gave us the full report, which was, I don't know, 300 pages.
Holy moly.
I think that's what really pushed the settlement, because they were like, oh shit. Because it wasn't, and in the deposition, there was originally 10 of us, and there was 15 or 5 other anonymous people that came out within my lawsuit that we don't even know who turned in the information. But I mean, there's everything from like bid rigging to, kickbacks to, and that wasn't my department. I mean, my piece was so small. Mine was the superintendent's daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
And so I was really the smallest piece, but I got put in the media because if you Google my name, I was described as the whistleblower. I wasn't the whistleblower.
I don't know. Sound like you were the whistleblower. Sound like you started this whole thing right here.
There was a whole crew of us. So
you're probably the biggest celebrity of the whistleblowers. You're probably the biggest influencer out there. So that's what they want to bring you up as much.
I don't know about that, but
that's crazy. And so there was no like punishment at all.
nope.
Do they still have jobs? Those same people?
Oh yeah.
What?
And what's worse is, okay, so this is funny. I described, and I'm sure they didn't get this joke, but you've never seen Star Wars, have you? You're not a Star Wars. Have you seen Star Wars?
No, I'm not a nerd.
Okay, well, I always talk about how the superintendent, everybody looked at him as the bad guy. I was like, he's like Darth Vader, but the CFO, he's the emperor. He's the one controlling everything behind the
Emperor Palpatine?
Yes.
How do I know that? Look at that. You didn't know about that.
Ooh, you good.
Yeah.
So he's really the one. So what happened was the superintendent resigned in the midst of all this. And they hired the CFO's best friend. So it's worse now.
I mean, it sounds like corruption. I thought if this many people, like you guys would bring them down and there'd be jail time or something. But I guess no.
You'd think, but it's Mississippi, so everything's ass backwards.
I gotta move. Just go and be corrupt Mississippi and have a good life and just spend it all at the buffet. And that's gonna be my future.
But the good thing is I found reselling as a way that I can supplement my income. Mm-hmm. And I make more money now than I did 10 years at my job. I don't have the state retirement that I had, but I'm lucky enough to be in a, 2-income household. So I have insurance, and it's been wonderful because now I'm able to dedicate time to my kids. So
even though you just told them to leave tonight.
Yeah, it worked out.
So with this whole reselling thing, what did YouTube come into play? What made you want to get into that?
I was originally, so Super Geeked is supposed to be an umbrella for a bunch of other stuff. My LLC is supposed to not just be reselling, but I do freelance graphic design. I'm a painter. I do a lot of stuff. And so it was really about everything that I get super geeked about. So everything I'm passionate about. So originally when we started the channel, it was me and a couple friends, and we were going to cover all the things.
I was going to ask you about that because I've been watching some of your older videos today to get ready for this. And I was like, who are these people?
So my best friend, Oliver, we grew up together, like going to punk rock shows and stuff. And we were going to talk about music because that's a big part of my life. That's how I met my husband. And so just like
is this Oliver right here? Is this the Oliver?
Yes.
Over there.
Yeah,
okay.
That's Oliver. So we've been best friends since I was in high school. He's older than me, but I think we became friends when I was like 15 or 16 years old. So we've been friends for a long time, but
40 years.
Yeah, we go to shows together and go see bands play together and stuff. And we have a lot of the same interests. So the channel was going to be more about that. And it kind of evolved into just reselling. He, had some personal things come up that he couldn't do it anymore. I had a couple of other friends that were involved, and I just decided to keep it reselling. That's what mainly our viewership was anyway. And so it just kind of went that direction. So originally it was going to be like a whole slew of things. And I just kind of niched it down to reselling.
I think that's smart because a whole slew of things would be hard to get traction. And you guys,
Yeah.
you know how YouTube likes it when you just talk about one thing. So if it's
Well, he wanted to do a podcast originally, and I'm more of like a visual person. I'm a visual artist. I do graphic design. I'm a painter. And so I really wasn't in that headspace to do a podcast. And that was his thing. Like he really wanted to do it. So was the original intro to YouTube, was like kind of to do like a visual version of a podcast. But it ended up being reselling. And it's like I was pushed in that direction. So it's worked out.
it seems like life just pushes you into different things.
Yeah.
You were thrown into reselling. You were pushed into doing this. I forced you to come on the podcast. You just been getting pushed on to do everything, huh?
You didn't force me. I was excited because I didn't have to wait 30 years.
Yeah, that's, uh, I like how we're just like, oh yeah, so we're doing it Friday, and you're like, yeah, of course. It was like no warning or anything. I was like, yeah, Friday, you're good, right?
Well, you kept harassing me every time you'd ask me. And then I was like, oh, I got kid stuff. And, you
Yeah,
know,
all
it's
these
just
kid stuff.
well, my kids are so busy right now with sports. We have practices every night of the week. And since Josh is a firefighter, he's gone every third day and he has a second job like most firefighters do. So I'm the one driving everybody. So I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
extra time. And like I was telling you, I haven't gone thrifting with Alicia and Tanya in probably 2 months.
Sheesh. How are you alive?
Well, I have a death pile behind me anyway. So I got stuff I need to list. And I pulled a lot of stuff, from my house. People give me stuff. So, I'm good. But they just, they've been doing their own thing. So I haven't been able to go because the kids. So really, when you said something about the podcast, I thought that's great because Friday is my only day that I don't have anything going
See,
on.
it's like I knew it. It's
And
like
then
I
I got
could
rid of the
sense it.
kids and the
Yes.
husband.
Boom. Thank you. You chose me over all of them. I
No,
appreciate that.
thank you. It's quiet around here. So doesn't happen often.
It was a lot more quiet before I started talking to you. It was even more quiet. That's one of the benefits of like where I live now. I'm by myself in a full house. Then quiet feels amazing. Like it just feels so good. Like all you hear is like the dishwasher or like the fridge. That's the only noise you hear. You're like, oh, this feels amazing.
Well, we went many years without kids. So for a long time, Josh was a chef. He
Whoa.
went to Yeah, so he went to culinary school and he was a chef for 12 years. And I worked, at the school district. So I was working a regular job. So we didn't really like see each other too much. So I had a lot of quiet time. But I don't know if you know this, but we adopted our kids.
Oh no, I didn't. No.
So my boys came to us when they were babies. They are my brother's biological children.
Okay.
So biologically, I'm their aunt, which is weird to say because I've had them since they were babies. So they're my kids. But my brother had a drug problem for like 20 years. He's clean now. He's doing great and everything. And he's in their lives. He gets to watch them grow up, and which is wonderful. But they got taken into custody. And Josh and I tried to have kids for like 10 years and like nothing ever happened. And so it just kind of worked out where we went through like CPS classes and got certified as foster parents. And then they came to live with us as foster kids. And eventually we adopted them. So
How old were they when they came to you guys?
So they were taken at 3 months and
Wow.
19 months.
Okay, so
And
like babies.
right,
Yeah.
Gary. So when Gary went through like the phase of when they start to recognize people, he was already with us. So like he was in
Gotcha.
like when he starts to recognize faces as familiar. So they did go to a foster family in Louisiana for 5 months. And they were total strangers to us, but we have stayed close to them. I promised them when we got the kids that they would always be in their lives. So we're still close to them, and they have 3 boys now. And so they came to live with us 5 months after that. So Gary was 8 months old and Jordan was like 22 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And how old are they now?
they are 8 and 9.
Wow. Okay.
They're
Yeah.
almost 9 and 10. They'll be 9 and 10 at the beginning of the year. So
About to start dating. So it's almost dating time.
don't say that. Gary already has like 2 girlfriends.
There we go. It's my man. My man knows what's up.
Let me tell you, at 3 years old, that kid already had a crush on some girl in the first grade. I
Yeah.
said, she's too old for you. He
He
loves the
don't
ladies.
care. He don't care.
He loves the ladies. So Jordan
So
could care less.
8 and 9 is what? That's third and fourth grade, right?
Yes, third and fourth grade.
I got you.
Yep.
That's when how old I was when I moved to the States. I was 8, so I was going into third. Yeah, so it's a good
Why
year.
did y'all decide to come here?
I knew like 25 years later I'm going to have a podcast and you're going to be on here. And I was like,
Yeah.
for that to happen, we got to make the first step.
That's a good answer.
I think it's the best answer you heard all day.
You should keep telling people that.
That's the only reason. I knew I was going to have a podcast back in the 90s. I was like, there's this thing going to happen. It's called podcast. And there's this lady out there right now who works at the school district. She's about to snitch on everybody. And I want her on. No, my parents came because they wanted a better life for us. My uncle won like the lottery, and so the lottery in Ukraine was green cards to move away from Ukraine. So like, you know how here like the Powerball, you get like millions back in Ukraine. The lottery was you get a green card and you get out. That was like way better than any money. So he got it. He moved to the States, and in the 90s there's a rule where like every year you're allowed to invite a family member to join you if you're a good citizen or if you're a good like member of the country. So like he started inviting his brothers 1 year at a time. Finally came to my dad. My dad and my mom had comfortable lives. My dad was like a carpenter. He had to make good money. My mom made good money, but they were like, there's no future for us here or no future for like their kids. So they dropped everything and came. That's how we're here. And that's what we're doing.
That is wild.
Very
Green cards.
Green card lottery, baby. That's how it works. Yeah, it shows like, so when people talk like crap about this country, and I'm like, people like are literally like are paying the lottery to try to move here. You guys are trying to say like this country sucks and all that, and like people legit are buying lottery tickets to win a green card for the opportunity to come here. Like it's
Wow.
it's way better than everywhere else. I can tell you that. So with your reselling, you said you do MCM and you do clothes, right? Is that still like your closet gets your store more? It's not just all clothes, right? You have hard goods and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do have hard goods. It's what I know, and I'm very passionate about mid-century modern. So a lot of my friends will get into it. They'll go through phases where they want to get into furniture or whatever, and I'm always the first person they message. So because I've been collecting since I was like 10. So
since the Great Depression.
Yeah, since the Great Depression. No, so it's funny you say that because my grandmother was born during the Depression, and I make jokes about her parents must have been bored because they didn't have anything else to do. And she doesn't think it's funny.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I still.
I bought these today. Are they mid-century modern or what are they? How would you describe these?
Placemats?
Yeah.
Well, see, okay, let me tell you.
These like 70s or 80s.
So some people try to lump like the late 60s in with mid-century modern. I am a purist. I'm like 1945 and 1965. I don't like avocado green. I don't like,
Okay, so you think these are ugly is what you're saying. Is what you just said.
No, those are cute, but green's not my thing. So now Bob loves green.
There's like orange ones here too, and yellow ones.
Yeah, the burnt orange and the harvest gold, and that's all late 60s, 70s. So some people would say it's mid-century. Like you could probably get away with putting in a listing, but for us purists, that's not really mid-century.
Just drop something. I don't know. These were here too. The colonial one. Look at that.
Yeah. Spirit, it says Spirit 76. They were
Yep.
probably made in 1976.
Yeah. You were like 25 when they were made.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot. I wasn't even born. I told
What
Josh
did
to make a bunch of old jokes about it.
you did? You told them you could predict what I was gonna do?
Yeah, I said, Paul's like 10 years younger than me. I said, I know he's going to make old jokes.
Am I 10 years younger than you? I
Yeah.
don't think really? You're 43?
Yep.
Wow, you're old.
But I get carded at the movies, so I don't look old.
At the movies?
Hey, I got carded when I went to go see Magic Mike with my grandmother, my aunt, and my mom. And then they said, I need to see your friends' IDs. I said, look, I'm here with my grandma.
Wait, is Magic Mike a rated R movie? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's about strippers. So
I know what it's about. I don't know. I've never seen it.
yeah, right. You own it.
Yeah, I actually watch it every day. Don't tell anybody. that Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I have never been carded in the movie theater in my life. I don't know they even did that.
Are you serious?
Never in my life I've been carded in the movie theater. I didn't think that was like a thing.
Oh yeah, I still get carded at bars sometimes too, and it may be because I act immature.
That could be why. When Mel came here and we went to, you guys have Publix where you are, or is that another thing?
That's Florida.
Okay.
I go to them when I go to Pensacola. So,
but you know what it is, right?
Yeah,
You know, okay. So we went there to buy some adult beverages for the thing, right? So when you scan it, they like ask for your ID so you can see that you don't have to buy it. And Mel was like cracking up, like, they're IDing you. They think you're young. I'm like, that's not how it works. You have to do it. They're like, they didn't ID me. I'm like, because you're not the one paid. Yeah, they're not going to ID you. She said it was like that. Like she put it in her vlog too. She's like, look at Paul getting ID'd at Publix. So I'm like, that's the law here. That's not like they're like, hey, look at this guy. He looks young. Let's ID him. I'm like that's how it works. So I'm like, anybody can just go and buy things if they didn't make the associate come over and show your ID all the time.
Well, the worst is one of our friends that the first time I met Alicia and Tanya at the same meetup was our friend Alexis, who lives in Mobile. She doesn't have a YouTube channel or anything like that, but one day we were joking around at the bins because we drive over to where she's from to go to the bins, and she was like, I forget that you're over 40. She's like, you could be my mom. And I thought, dang. Oh my gosh, like, have I reached that level that like
my is Alexis like younger? Is she super young or something?
Yeah, she's in her 20s, so
okay. I guess you could kind of be her mom.
I'm closer in age to her mother than I am her, but I probably act more like them.
I think you're closer in age to my mother too than you are to me, but actually, I don't know. I think my mom was 20 or 21 when she had me, so I think it's close.
I feel like I was born in a good era though. Like we're, I mean, I guess you feel as young as, as you feel. Because I mean, I don't feel like I'm 43 years old, but I don't feel 43. I still go to punk rock shows. I still get out there and dance. Like I still do all the things I've always loved to do. So, some people grow up and get mature.
I don't feel 33 there. I wake up sometimes I feel 65. So I'm right there. And like my back is like, my neck starts hurting. I don't feel 33 sometimes. So it's all about how you feel, I definitely agree with you on that. So tell me, how'd you meet Josh? How did that come up?
Okay, so you're asking the good questions because I could write a book about these stupid stories. I literally wish I did everything like normal people, but I don't. So I used to promote bands. I used to book tours for bands. I used to manage bands because I was really into music, but I am not, like I said, I'm an artist. I'm not a musician. So
like bands I have heard of, or just like
it was the whole
Biloxi area bands.
No, not Biloxi area. Like like US like bands, like whatever, but they were all underground. Back in the day, you know, you had major label, you had underground labels, independent labels. So a lot of these bands would play shows. We didn't have cell phones. You had to get like phone number lists. You got on the payphone, like
Wow.
like it was a whole thing booking tours. So anyway, I used to book tours for bands, and my name was on this registry, and a band was coming down here to Mississippi and needed a show. And so it's like, oh, I'll book you a show. Well, they needed a show the day before my show and the day after my show. So I hooked him up with my friend in Mobile to do a show the first night. Then they were going to play my show. Then they were going to New Orleans to be with my friend Brian. He got them a show. Well, the band stayed at my house. So
is that a regular thing? Is that usually how?
Oh yeah. Well, because I toured with bands. Like all my friends were guys. I didn't have any girlfriends. Like I like close girlfriends. Like I had girlfriends, but not close. All my friends were dudes. Like I went on tours with boys. Like that was just my, you know, like I was comfortable around guys. So they came and stayed at my house after the first show, played my show, stayed again. Then we went to New Orleans. They were going to stay with my friend Brian, but we had so much fun. They came back to my house in Mississippi. And they said, hey, finish our dates in Arkansas. You know, so it was a little bit north of Mississippi. I was going to take a Greyhound home. They had 3 dates in Arkansas. So I hopped in the van, went to the 3 dates in Arkansas, decided, screw it, I'm not going back to Mississippi to the first week of class.
Wow.
And I finished tour with them. You know, we went to Chicago. We ended up they lived in a little town north of Dayton, Ohio. And I saw snow, and does not snow obviously down here, you know, because you live in the South now too. We don't have 4 seasons.
I figured there was no snow. We have summer and more summer. That's what.
Yes. So I get so excited because my whole life we've never had winter. So like it was snowing, it was beautiful. Like this little town was on the river in Ohio, and I'm like, oh, I love this place. I'm gonna move. I know this band for a week. So this is where it gets crazy. So I went home, I packed up my house in 2 weeks, and I moved up to Ohio on Valentine's Day of 2001.
All because you saw snow.
Yeah, I dropped out of college. So the only time I've ever seen my grandpa cry, and I told them I was moving. So I move up there, and I met Josh that day. So Valentine's Day 2001 was the first time I met him. But here's the crazy thing. Josh was supposed to go on tour with them. And last minute, his dad was like, I don't want you to go because you need to stay at home and help pay bills, whatever. So that's why they had room in the tour van for me.
Wow.
You know, with all the equipment and everything, they only had room. I basically was sitting on sleeping bags at people's feet. And so that's the only reason they had room for me was because Josh didn't go on tour. And they brought me back, and I met Josh the first day I moved into town. Now, we didn't start dating right away, but the band, he moved in with us, and then the band went back on tour, and then we started dating.
Dang.
Because the house was empty. So there was nobody there. It was just us. So
it's all because you saw snow. So if there was no snow in Dayton, you and Josh might have never been.
Yeah, all because I saw snow and because he didn't come. So
that's crazy how life works, huh? Yeah.
Because I would have met him had he gone on that tour. I would have met him, but we probably would have never dated.
You don't think so? It wasn't love at first sight?
No.
Second sight?
No, we were friends first, and then you know the band went back on tour. So
he escaped the friend zone.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard for men to do that. So that's very impressive. He could escape the friend zone like that.
But our wedding story is crazier.
Do tell.
So I lived in Ohio for 6 years, and we planned the wedding in 2005, and we were going to get married on my grandparents' wedding anniversary, which was Labor Day. It was a Monday. So the plan was go home to Biloxi for a week, you know, spend some time with my family, with just me and Josh. The wedding party was coming down from Ohio and a couple cousins from the coast. And then we were going to go to New Orleans for our bachelor party, and then we'd get married the following Monday. Well, when we left Ohio on Saturday, Hurricane Katrina was
That's when you got married?
Oh, it gets better. So when I left
Whoa.
Ohio, it was a category 3. So cat 3, I've lived through cat 3, no big deal. Trees go down, you probably have some
I
debris,
mean,
maybe.
it's definitely still a big deal. It's not
Oh,
like it's like a
but
little
but for
thunderstorm.
somebody who lives in a hurricane zone, it
Yeah.
was like, okay, it's a 3, whatever. We get to Mobile and get to turn on I-10. And I called my mom to tell her because we had been driving through the night. I was like, hey, we're in Mobile. We'll be home in 45 minutes. She's like, it's a cat 5. I said, what? I slapped Josh, woke him up, and there was literally like tumbleweed, like going across the highway. There was nobody going towards
Well,
Mississippi.
obviously, everybody was getting out.
And Florida, it was back to back, not even moving traffic on I-10. So we get home. We're staying at my grandparents' house who live on the water.
Sheesh.
They didn't even board up the windows because in the last bad storm, which you always, if you're from the South, if you're from the coast, you always grade a storm based on the last most serious storm. And that was Hurricane Camille in 69 was what hit Biloxi. In fact, Woodstock, the mud people dancing, in the mud,
Yeah.
that was the remnants of Hurricane Camille. So
Oh
everybody
wow. Okay.
gauged, so my grandparents didn't board up their windows because in Camille, that house had no water. So we end up waking up early in the morning. The water is already up to the back porch.
Wow.
Their office was already like the whole floorboards were like waves. We're trying to get all their computers out of their office. I go into the living room. My grandpa and Josh are holding the back doors on the back of the house. And my grandpa says, Josh, when I tell you to jump back, let go. The doors flew off the back of the house. Water floods in. We end up in the attic.
Holy moly.
Josh and my brother, Josh couldn't swim. He's from Ohio. They don't swim in Ohio. So him and my brother went down and saved my wedding dress. And we rode out the storm. Like I literally, Paul, could feel water splashing on my feet. We're in the attic. Like all my
In the
grandparents.
attic, you could feel it. Holy moly.
Yeah, the water it was over 10 feet. So the furniture was hitting the ceiling. So our chairs were moving. And my brother fell through the ceiling at one point into the garage and had to come up like a hidden staircase. It was crazy. Anyway, we survived, obviously.
Well,
We
I'm talking to
lived.
you. So yeah, I figured
My
I would.
grandparents' house was basically just a frame. Like everything was gone. And we're digging in the mud trying to find anything we could find of theirs. And my grandmother and my grandfather find out that our Catholic church in Biloxi, where we were going to get married, is still there. They only lost one window, which is like a miracle because we're a peninsula. Biloxi's a peninsula.
Yeah.
All the water from the Gulf, from the Mississippi Sound, met the water from Biloxi Bay. So the entire point of Biloxi was underwater.
Was underwater, yeah. That's what I heard.
And
yeah.
so the fact that the church was still there and we lost one window, my grandma goes, oh, you're getting married. I was like, married? We're like digging in the mud. And she goes, well, you've been living in sin for 5 years. You're getting married. So we still got married. We still got married the Monday after Katrina. We were the first wedding in
No way.
We got covered by the Dallas morning newspaper about our wedding because we were the first wedding after Katrina. I had no shoes on in the cathedral. I'm the only bride ever married in that Catholic cathedral with no shoes on.
What happened to your shoes?
Well, my shoes were coming in the mail. And we went from like 300 guests to 30. Everybody was in shorts and t-shirts. My grandparents' clothes, we had to get out of a tree because they had nothing.
Get out of what do you mean get out of a tree? Like
some
leaves?
of their clothes were like a shirt and shorts. Like we had, it was nothing. Like they had nothing. They didn't have a toothbrush. They didn't have anything.
Oh, but they didn't care about that. They cared about you living in sin for 5 years.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
That is crazy.
I didn't have kids the normal way. I didn't get married the normal way. I guess I didn't meet Josh the normal way.
You're just a
My whole life
bundle
is
of fun.
whack.
Do you know Pearlington is that far from you? Probably
Pearlington?
never. Probably have never heard of that, huh?
No, I've heard of it. It's probably an hour from here. Why? You going there?
No, I've been there 3 times already. It is an hour. Look at that. She's 15 minutes away from you. Yeah.
You've
Let
been
me
there
think.
how many times?
3 times.
Ooh, I'm telling Alicia and Tanya, you in
Well,
trouble.
not this year. When did Katrina hit? 2005?
2005, yeah.
Yes, I wasn't there 05. I was there 06. I was there 07. So you guys didn't know who I was. All right.
Did
And,
you volunteer?
yeah, we did a lot of volunteer trips to that city. And see how close that was to you. We did a volunteer
That's
trip the
how,
first year to
yeah.
do cleanup and debris. We got there because I was part of like the Southern Baptist Convention thing, so they were going
Mhm.
there. We got there before FEMA in 05.
Yeah.
That's how like we had a girl on our that was part of our team and we were doing cleanup and debris. She found dead bodies in the house. That's how like
Mhm.
bad it was. Like she opened the closet and a mom like flew out with her kid, like dead. So
Yeah.
like we got there before FEMA did, which is like kind of crazy. And so the first year we did a bunch of cleanup. Second year we came in, we built 2 houses, and the year before after that we came in and built 2 more houses. It was just like a big like a Ukrainian thing. But the thing with being in Pearlington is because the best food I ever had was in Pearlington. The best one of the houses we built, the guy was a shrimp fisherman, and
Yeah.
he thanked us with a shrimp boil. Ooh wee! Best food I
Mhm.
ever had. Freaking shrimp boil.
So that's what happened in Biloxi. You don't go get your shrimp from the store. You go down to the shrimp boat and you buy it right off the boat.
Oh, so like you buy from the fishermen themselves? You
Oh
just
yeah.
okay.
When they dock up, you just go buy them off the boat. But
And
my next door neighbor's house, the same thing happened. A church group came down and rebuilt her entire house
man,
because she was a single lady who was a former teacher and she didn't have anybody to help her. And so her entire house was rebuilt by a church that volunteered to come down here.
it
It was
was
crazy. We were climbing over roofs. I mean, it like people's roofs were in the road. It was
yeah.
wild.
To say like I was I think 15 at that time, so I was still pretty. I was like, holy moly! It was like a different world for me. I was like, what is going on here? And your mosquitoes, oh
Oh
my
yeah,
goodness,
they're fun.
they're like this big.
Yeah, well,
Those
we have
things
horse
were.
flies too. Horse flies are so big.
I don't think I've seen. I don't think I've seen those, but holy moly!
Well, when you get
Yeah.
up by those pine trees, that's where it's like the mosquitoes are real bad. We have the flying cockroaches, the palmetto bugs that come from pine trees. Y'all got that in Florida?
Mm, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure they're around. The guy told us that like the right after the hurricane, the mosquitoes became a lot bigger or something. So
Yeah.
he's like they're usually not this big. You just here at the wrong time. I was
Well,
like,
they spray. They come through the neighborhoods and spray.
man. So is yours I guess similar climate to Pearlington? I guess right. Biloxi in
Yeah,
the
but
areas
they're
there.
more inland, so we're actually like right on the beach. So my
Yeah.
neighborhood is on the back side of Biloxi, so we're on the bay. I live right off the water. Like actually the house that I was in during Katrina is right at the end of my road. So
Wow. Okay.
we ended up when we moved here bought a house in our neighborhood in the same neighborhood as my grandparents.
Dang.
Yeah, my neighbors call this my maiden name is Moon. So my neighbors call this Moon Hill because we have our house. My grandparents sold their house on the water and built a house next door to us, and then my dad has a house next to them.
Dang,
And
it's like a
so,
whole cult little like community you guys have
oh
there.
yeah, my mom and my stepdad live 2 streets over too in our neighborhood. So
Dang. So you can just do you have like family gatherings every weekend? And just we're
oh, my
meeting
dad
at
and my mom wouldn't want to hang out, but yeah, I mean, I'm very close to my family. It was a weird adjustment for Josh. He's not from here, so coming down south, and everybody's like really close, and your mama's up in your business all the time, just showing up at your house, and
Yeah, that sounds like Ukrainians too.
Yeah.
I just remember with my parents' house. You just be walking and just doing something, then just out of nowhere, just other people just show up. You know, like what? And like I think it's a different world because like everyone's like, oh, cool, come in. I'll make tea or whatever, and it's like there's no announcement, no whatever. I'm like, if you come to my house unannounced, you're not gonna. I'm not opening the door for you. I don't know. I don't care who you are. You got to give me at least a little heads up. But that maybe it's old school too. I don't know. But that's how they are as well.
Yeah.
Now Biloxi isn't like it's a big city, right? Or is it not a big city? Or
It's not that big of a city. I mean, but
okay,
the way that we're set up though, from border to border on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, we're basically like one coast. I
okay,
mean, so you drive straight into the next city and it's like we're all kind of like you wouldn't even know. Like if you're not from here, you wouldn't even realize like, oh, I'm in Ocean Springs now or I'm in Gulfport or whatever because it's just they all just run right into each other.
and
So
how far is Gulf Shores from you? Is that pretty close?
Gulf Shores is 2 hours.
Okay, so that's kind of far.
Pensacola is the same amount, 2 hours. So if you stay on I-10,
Okay.
you get to Pensacola. I like Pensacola better than Gulf Shores, but Gulf Shores and Orange Beach are so small compared to Pensacola, and so
So if you guys vacation, it's Pensacola or Destin or something like that.
oh
That's
yeah,
where you guys go.
Pensacola. Destin's too congested, so there's just too much.
Just
I've gone
Pensacola.
over there
That's
with
all.
Alicia. Jesse got married in Destin, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so her and her husband and her daughter came down for their anniversary, their 10-year anniversary, and we all went over to Destin and stayed overnight. I only remember half the night. Alicia only remembers half the night.
I don't. I believe it.
There's video footage somewhere of like
that
a lot of craziness. So, but
man.
yeah, so I don't go to Destin very often, but I will go if my friends come.
I feel like I think you guys are closer to Destin than I am. That's how big Florida is,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because if Destin's on the Panhandle, right? It's up there, right?
yeah. It's on the
Yeah.
Panhandle. So it's Pensacola is the first city, and then it's like Fort Walton and Destin, and then Panama City. So they're all kind of in a line because you can take the beachway, like you can turn on Pensacola and then take the whole
Yeah.
island down.
Destin is 7.5 hours from my house.
Yeah, yeah. You're pretty far from us.
Yeah. I would love to be farther, but this is
Really,
where I am.
really, we're fun. We're like the fun crew up here.
Whatever helps you sleep at night. Biloxi, you guys are 9 hours and 15 minutes away.
Jeez,
Okay. Maybe one day I'll visit.
you can come for Mardi Gras. That'll be fun.
That's what I heard. That's what Alicia keeps telling me. Saying it's
Oh,
great.
you don't want to see Alicia at Mardi Gras?
Will she remember half the night?
I don't know. Sometimes she's good. Sometimes I don't know. But
I
we're
feel
all
like
like that. Did you see
yeah.
the funny footage of when Jessie came back? She came to Biloxi, and it was just her and her husband, and we were in the casino, and Tanya was filming everybody following her, and I just disappeared.
What
But
happened?
I was filming at the same time, and I ducked out and like hid from them. We were just having a lot of fun. So, but they're like, "Where'd
So
she go? We can't find her." But you can audibly hear me say, "See ya, losers."
that's something you would say. That's a
Yeah.
Victoria line, that's for sure. So Victoria, I mean Alicia and Tanya are also Biloxi. Same thing. Same city as you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say yes because they would kill me if, especially Alicia, if I revealed where she lives.
So close enough to be considered Biloxi.
She lives very close to me.
Okay. And there's enough thrift stores to go around for three of you guys to find stuff?
So I don't thrift around here. I only
Oh,
thrift in like New Orleans.
really?
Well, here's the thing for me. Okay, so with reselling, there's so many different business models. You go to garage sales, some people go to estate
Yes.
sales, some people want to have a warehouse and employees and make $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my whole goal is to be able to supplement my income which I do. I make more than I did at my regular job after 10 years, and be able to have time for my kids. So I'm sourcing items that are going to sell for a higher price point. My average, sale price is $54, $56 an item. And I want to be able to list less because I've got to dedicate time to driving my kids to sports events, be active at their
Yeah.
school, whatever. So for me, sourcing in Mississippi, I can go thrifting all day and have 5, 8, 10 items. I can go to New
Mm.
Orleans, which is an hour away, or an hour and 15 minutes, and I can source all day and have, 30 items, 40
Mm.
items, 50 items, depending on where we go. So what's worth more to my time, like is
No, that
going
makes sense.
thrifting here. So Alicia and Tanya thrift a lot on the coast. Like they'll go and, because they have more time, Alicia doesn't have kids yet. Tanya's,
Doesn't
kids are
care about her
grown.
kids. Yeah.
Huh?
Tanya doesn't care about her kids, so
No,
it makes sense.
Tanya's that's not true. Tanya's kids are grown, and so they have more flexibility of when they can go. That's why I don't get to hang out with them as much because, a lot of
Gotcha.
times they get to go do stuff and I just don't have the time.
I
But
also didn't realize New Orleans was that close to you, so I guess that makes sense. Like tomorrow, I'm traveling an hour to go to a yard sale, so
yeah.
like it's because there's a lot of yard sales in that area, so I'm traveling an hour to get to an area of those yard sales. So that doesn't seem crazy at all. If you're traveling an hour, 15 minutes to thrift, that sounds pretty reasonable for sure. So I get
And
it.
literally
Yeah.
I go like twice a month or like I got I'm working with the Goodwills in southeastern Louisiana to do like basically promotion for their programs, which they have a lot of cool programs, and they obviously pay me for it. But I go to their thrift stores. So like it's not just New Orleans, but it's also north of there in Baton Rouge, where Chris Cajun Resellers from. I tried to get him to meet up with me a week or two ago when I went because I take my grandparents to doctor's appointments. They're
And
91 and
he did it.
92. The turd was still sleeping.
What a jerk, Chris! If you're watching, you terrible, terrible.
But he lives up there, but I'll go thrift for, an hour while they're at the doctor and still get enough inventory that it's worth more to me to thrift in Baton Rouge than it is at home.
For
So I
sure.
really don't thrift very often unless my girls are going and we just make a trip out of it.
Well, yeah, I know. Alicia told me about your girls' trip. You guys spend 8 hours at one store, so it's
Well, we get, there's so much going on. I remember one time Alicia and I went to New Orleans. We got there in the morning. I think we came up for air about 1 o'clock, and we were like, both
came
of
up
us had,
for came up for air.
we both had full baskets. This totally debunks the notion that two resellers can't be in a thrift store at the same time because, we both had full baskets, source in the same store, and we still weren't done. So it's just you go where the stuff is. So
No, yeah, well, you go where the people are, right? The more
yeah.
people, the more donations, the better the stuff. It makes a lot of sense. Like I live in a decent sized city here, but I still travel for yard sales because more people live in St. Pete than they live here. So I'd rather travel an hour and go somewhere the people are. No, it definitely makes sense. The whole you said notion of the two people. I think I've seen from your videos that like you and Alicia and Tanya at least buy different things, right? So you'd be like, you'll pick something up saying, like, I know it's not for me, but I know Tanya would want it or something like that, and you just give it to her.
Oh
Is
yeah.
that how it
So
works? Yeah, yeah,
well, obviously there's crossover.
yeah.
There's stuff that we all sell. You know, Tanya will pick up a box, that's some headphone box and sell it, but I'm not going to list it. Look, I know I can go to thrift store and there's tons of stuff I could make money on, but is it going to get listed when it gets home? And for me, like I said, my time is what's valuable to me. That's the
Mhm.
biggest thing about reselling for me. It has given me an avenue to be a mom and be available for my kids, to go to their school. They go to a small private school, to be very active. Like I'm homeroom helper for my youngest's class. I got to do the haunted house for their Halloween carnival.
Oh
I'm
wow.
designing the whole thing. I'm building, with all the other parents. Like, so it's like big stuff. Like I want to have time for them. I don't sell men's a lot. unless it's like designer or quirky vintage stuff that, so the men's section, I'm usually not going there. And so I usually go to the dresses. They're going to the men's section, So we've been 4 people deep. When Bob Buys came to visit, Gorgeous, me, and Alicia are all in a thrift store in New Orleans, or, Tanya and Alicia and Jesse and me, So, I mean, we've been 4 resellers deep in a thrift store in New Orleans and still all came out with like bags and bags of stuff.
Yep.
And left so much behind.
Mm-hmm.
So some people like get on, this like high horse and YouTube and, Instagram or whatever and say, if people say that, that's not true, your competition. But I pull stuff all the time and I'm like, I ain't going to list this, but I know it's going to sell. I know Alicia's going to list it, and so I'll bring it to her and be like, do you want this? And she'll be like, I don't know. Ask Tanya. And so I'll ask Tanya. Tanya will be like, oh. But we do that all the time.
Yep. And I just also always think it's a lot more fun to do this with friends. Like you see a lot of my videos, I have my friends with me. Like people say, you're stupid, you should go by yourself. All the stuff that they were grabbing, you could have grabbed, and then you would have had more stuff to list. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but it's way more fun doing it with people. It's like I chose this career because I want to enjoy myself, and I like sourcing a lot more with friends than sourcing myself. So.
Well, the big thing too is when you find something and it's exciting, if you're by yourself, you don't have anybody to share it with. Your girls are there. I'm like, hey, look what I found. And they're like, either they cuss me out because they wanted it, or they're like, heck yeah, that's awesome, Or like I said, Tanya picks up totally random stuff I would never even look at. And I go, holy crap, I wouldn't have even thought to look at that. And she's like, check the comps, whatever. And so you learn stuff from each other too. I mean, because obviously I'm one of the, Tanya's older than me, but, we're, having lived as many lives on this planet, I have expertise in mid-century modern and stuff. They'll pick up stuff and be like, okay, I know what I can sell this for,
Yeah.
And then something else too is we've been in New Orleans and, I talked about this on my YouTube channel, but, Jesse and I were sitting there sorting a cart because she'd come down from St. Louis and was hanging out with us. And I had this pair of pants and they were like Max Mara. So they're mid-tier designer, expensive, beautiful pair of trousers. And I said, these comps suck. People have sold them for $25. I said, I bet you I can get way more for them. And, sometimes you just have to go with your gut, but she's like going, I do that all the time too. I'm like, I could get more for that. I could photograph that better.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I sold them for way more than the comps even said. So it's good to have encouragement too, to say, hey, cause they know, they're on the same road as you. So I love thrifting with my friends. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. But again, said it's all about what you value more, So that relationship means more to you than, oh man, Alicia found this that I would have found if I cared about myself, For me, that relationship and that times is way more valuable than whatever item I could have found that somebody else did, So it's cool. So do you actually go ever by yourself now, or it's always just with them now?
No, I go by myself. So we're like I said, I go to Baton Rouge with my grandparents. I travel sometimes and go to some of the other thrift stores in southeastern Louisiana by myself. And then also I'm a New Orleans Saints season ticket holder. So we're in New
I
Orleans
didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry you're an Eagles fan. But so I'm in New Orleans a lot for Saints games.
The only team that's 2-0 right now. No, what other team is 2-0 right now in the league?
I don't want to talk to you. I'm done with this. So anytime I'm going to a Saints game, we'll stay overnight. I'll go to thrift stores.
Reeves swings it out. The ball is Jim Johnson because he brought pressure, but he still had Sheldon Beatley exposed.
Oh, I don't know where that came from.
Reeves swings it out.
I don't know what just happened. I don't know.
Reeves swings it out.
Is that an Eagle player hitting a Saints player? I think
Reeves swings it out.
Ooh.
Did you have that keyed up to play?
I mean, it's there. I don't know tantrums. I'm just saying it's available.
Reeves swings it out to Luke.
My goodness. You're crazy.
It's like I knew you would bring it up or something. I don't know. I don't know how.
Reeves swings it out to Luke.
I wish I had a rebuttal for that, but
I was waiting an hour for you to bring up the Saints. Like, what did you gonna bring him up? What is that gonna happen?
It's a big deal for my family. I've been going since I was a little girl. The first Saints game I went to back when they were the Aints, I didn't know. I was a small child.
Did you bring a lunch bag and put it over your head? Did you do that?
I was a small child, and I go to this game, and they lost preseason, by the way. And my dad tells me it's my fault. I cried the whole way home. I didn't know they lost every game. But my grandparents have passed the tickets on. We officially changed them over. I've managed them for the last 6-7 years anyway.
Your grandparents could give them to you?
So my grandparents, it used to be you could not transfer any tickets, NFL tickets, unless it was to somebody died, and then they would will it to you. They have changed the rules for the Saints organization that now you can, so we took my grandparents to New Orleans. They sat in the car while I thrifted at my favorite thrift store, but we went to the New Orleans offices and we switched them over, and I cried because I had my 91 and 92-year-old grandparents there, and they have had these tickets since before they built the Superdome. So they used to have games at Tulane Stadium in New Orleans, and my grandpa's been going to games since then. In fact, if you look on YouTube, there was I think it's the Vikings and the Chiefs played in the 70s, a Super Bowl at Tulane Stadium, and they had a hot air balloons. The mascots were going up in these hot air balloons. One of the balloons went into the stands, and my grandpa and my dad were in the stands, and you can see the crowd push the balloon off of the people so that nobody would get hurt, and it went back on the field. So my grandfather and my dad are in that video.
Wow.
So they've been going to games since before the dome was built, and then I've been going since I was a little girl. So it's like a tradition in the family. It's a big deal, and so now we own the tickets. So I thrift when I'm in New Orleans.
I can't believe they gave them to you, even though you've been living in sin for 5 years.
I've been married since 2005, so
still people don't forget
anymore.
People don't forget.
Listen, we're Catholic. We go to confession. It all goes away.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay. So do you go to every home game or?
Oh yeah. So
okay.
And actually, it's more me and my mom than it is. Josh will go, but
he's not into football.
No, he's very into football, but he is a Bengals fan because he's from Ohio. And so this is a funny story. So my seats now, but my grandparents' seats, their friends sit in front of us. So one of their friends is a priest because we're very Catholic down here. We roll with priests and nuns. And
we roll with priests and nuns.
So there's Father Joe sits in front of us, and Father Joe is a Steelers fan. He's from Pittsburgh, and he'll wear his Steelers hat and everything else. Well, anyway, of course, Josh
just to a random Saints game, he'd wear a Steelers hat.
Oh, he's a season ticket holder for the Saints, but he still loves the Steelers. He's a Steelers fan through and through. I mean, that's his hometown. So anyway, of course, we, some seasons will play the Bengals. So we're a year, they're playing the Bengals. Josh comes in our section wearing Cincinnati gear. So rude, sitting next to me. And and so anyway, I think the Bengals made a touchdown, and he got up and started cheering, and everybody in our section was looking at him like he was a lunatic. Well, Father Joe tells him he's going to go to hell. And my grandma said, and that's coming from a priest. So it's sure to happen now. He's going straight to hell.
Wow. All because he cheered for the Bengals.
Yeah. Well, and then Joe called me one time. Father Joe called me and said, can I take Josh to, it was the playoffs, and they had watched one of the playoff games in the Dome. And then he said, can I take Josh to watch the second game? So I thought they were going to go to a bar in New Orleans. Oh no, he drove Josh back to the coast and took him to this bar, which is his hangout. And Josh walks in. He said it was a Steelers bar. They had a big mural on the wall. He said, this is like a bad joke. A Cincinnati Bengals fan walks into a Steelers bar.
Did he survive?
He did survive.
Wow, he's a survivor. No, maybe we'll make it out alive after that. That's.
But we're football fans through and through, and he's allowed to wear Bengals gear when they play the Saints, but that's it.
But that's very rare when that happens. You guys are not rivals or anything, right? So I guess he's
no, they
to
play.
him, right?
It's usually like every other year, every 2 years that they'll play.
Maybe not you guys. I know people in New Orleans are big fans of Bengals now too because of Joe Burrow. So,
yeah, I was there. One of my friends is a maker. She makes earrings and stuff like that, and she had come to one of those like oddities and curiosities shows, like selling her jewelry. And so I went to New Orleans and stayed with her a couple nights. And when they went to they played the last playoff game to go to the Super Bowl, we were in New Orleans, and the whole city erupted. I mean, everybody was cheering for him, and Joe Burrow, and it was crazy.
I mean, Joe Burrow was the guy at LSU, man. He was the dude, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's his one thing. Now, I will say I'm a good wife, and when they did go to the Super Bowl, I did hang a Bengals flag off our house. He didn't know I ordered it.
Dang, that's a commitment.
Yeah. So, but it only happens every once in a while.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't know about the whole season tickets. Then you guys, you going to the game? Is the game on Sunday at home or?
This Sunday, my mom's going to the game, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, this Sunday. Hold on, let me check my app.
Or was last week's at home? I don't remember.
Last week's game was at home.
You guys beat the Titans,
so
right?
They're away. So let's see. I gotta check my Saints app.
Let's see.
Have you ever been to a professional game?
Yeah. My goal now that I'm making YouTube money, I can travel. I want to go to as many away Eagles games as possible. So this year I'm trying to go to Dallas and go to Eagles Dallas in Dallas. Yeah, I went probably 4 or 5 home games with the Eagles. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot more fun going on the road and being like the opposition and just cheering when everybody else is like hates you. It's a lot more fun that way.
Well, let me tell you, when the Cowboys played the Saints last year, it was like the Twilight Zone. People were getting in fights left and right, and they had the poor security guy in our section. So, yeah, the next home game's the Buccaneers and the Saints on October 1st. I'm taking my girl. Me and my girlfriend are going, which is probably going to be trouble. Yeah.
You won't remember half the game.
I asked her, I said, it's a noon game. I said, what are we going to do? Because I know I'm going to be tipsy. We can't be driving back home. We're going to have to go get food and like maybe stay somewhere for a while.
Go thrifting.
Yeah. No, she won't thrift with me. She's not a thrifter. So, yep.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun to go over there. It's fun that the kids, we don't take the kids to the regular season games because why would I waste the money on that?
Makes sense.
Because it's so expensive. But we take the kids to the preseason.
Games, yeah.
They love it. They have fun. They dance. They get a little rowdy, and so.
Yeah, it's good. You guys get them young. Sucks that cheering for a terrible team. I should send you guys some Eagles jerseys so they can cheer for some winners. I
love the Saints.
I mean, it's okay. You're used to mediocrity your whole life, so it's good for you.
At least the people aren't wearing bags on their heads anymore. Listen, they have fun. They have this one guy. It's so funny. It's like It's like it says Domeland Security on the back of his thing, but he's got he wears like a life jacket, and he's been doing this since after Katrina, and.
He's a fan.
Have a guy who dresses up like a pope.
I've seen that. I've seen the Pope guy always gets TV time every single home game. Yeah.
A dude who dresses up like Dracula, it's fun.
Yeah. Do you put like face paint on when you go, or you just wear like a
No,
jersey
I
or
wear a
something?
sparkly sequin jacket, and that's about as and like
Oh,
big pom pom earrings and stuff like that. But I don't wear any like costumes.
you don't go all out. You're a fake Santa.
I don't think I've ever painted my face for a football game. So
Right. There's always time. So you're only as young as you feel, right? So if you feel young
my
enough to paint your face, go ahead.
well, my kids had their first like football game this week. They play flag football because they're
Hmm.
little, and the team they played, they had their face all painted. They had like glitter. They went all out. I
Glitter.
was like, yeah, glitter, like
Football
paint and
players had
glitter.
glitter.
Yeah. So I was just like,
That's
what is going
interesting.
on? Yeah, I was like, man, they're extra around here. Like we just showed up to the game. Like we're not like coming out with face paint on for my kids like 8 and 9-year-old football team.
Did you guys win?
They called the game because of lightning, so
Oh, lame.
it was
Back in
bad.
my day, they wouldn't call the game for lightning. They would wait for a winner.
They took a long time to call it, and there was like big lightning. Like it was like,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. There, thunderstorms down here are
Happen
different.
every day.
Yeah, but it's like crazy. Like it'll be like sun shining, and it's like bolts of lightning breaking down trees and stuff.
But yeah,
It's
but then it's
wild.
back to sun shining 20 minutes later. So it's very quick.
I hated living in Ohio because people did not know how to drive in the rain. And, but I guess I was like that with driving in the snow because I wasn't used to that either.
Yeah.
I remember asking somebody, do I need chains on my tires? Like, they were like,
No, you did it.
how am I supposed to know? Like, I don't live like anywhere where
chains.
snow.
How were you going to put chains on your tires if they said yes? What were you going to do?
I guess take it someplace, but
Take it someplace and hey.
Paul, the leaves don't even change colors here. The band that I left
Yeah, I
and went on
know.
tour with and moved in with, they came in January, and I remember them coming to my house and going, why are the trees still green? I said, we don't have winter. Like, we have no fall, no people. I mean, that's how it is. It's always green.
Yeah, it was funny. I moved in here end of January. My mom came down to help me. All my parents came down to help me move in. My mom went to Home Depot to buy some things, and it was almost Valentine's Day, so they had all the decorations for Valentine's Day. And she goes, "Why are you decorating for Valentine's Day? It's summer outside." I'm like, "Mom, it's January."
It's very confusing.
She was like, "Oh yeah," because it's like 80 degrees. They're like, it's summer. Like, why are they putting out Valentine's Day stuff? I'm like, it's that season. That's how it goes around here. I mean, I feel like it's finally like today was glorious. It was like 75 in the morning when I went for my walk. It was fantastic, and then after I had like a little thunderstorm, that I went to grill some burgers, and it was just like perfect outside. I'm like, yes, we're getting back to that beautiful season to be here, because summer is like crazy hot, but right now like September through like May is just perfection. It's just I wouldn't trade it for the world, even for Biloxi.
But if you're from here, like I grew up in the humidity, going out west is like the worst thing for me because it's so dry, and I'm used to so much moisture in the air that it's just so different. It's like hard, like to even just like function. Like everything's like I need tons of chapstick, and like if you just dry out, you're like a prune.
No one wants that. No one likes prunes or raisins, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I always heard that's better. Dry heat's better than humid heat. But so
when I went to DC in the summer this last year, it was great. I mean, because it was hot. It was as hot, same temperature as it was in Biloxi, but it was a dry heat. It wasn't like humidity, and so that was comfortable. But just west is it's so dry. It's like
also
a different level.
It's like 115, and like here it's like 90, 95. 115 is hotter.
Yeah. Well, we went to Orlando like last month.
Yeah.
And
thanks for telling me.
We were there for like 3 days. We took the kids, but it was like terrible.
I could have met up.
You would have scared my children.
Why? Your children never seen good-looking men before? It's like, what's so scary?
Yeah, let's talk about all your ladies on your channel. Like, oh, you got all these ladies send you gifts and stuff. I'm like,
what? Why did we talk about that? How did we get from you scaring my children to talk about the ladies on your channel?
I mean, you. It's funny because like you have like a whole following of people that just like to send you stuff.
Yes, and
Yep. Free gifts.
they like to send me stuff. They like to buy stuff from me. I have a beautiful and wonderful and amazing community that love me. They love them some Philly Flipper. It might be the eyes, it might be my charisma, it might be my riz, as the kids say. It might be the riz. I don't know what it is, but the ladies love them some Philly Flipper. I don't know what to say. You know, I was born this way, so that's all I can say. It's just what it is. I feel like your kid. What's your oldest kid's name? Justin.
Jordan.
No, Jordan. No, not Jordan. Jordan's the younger one, right? So
Jordan's the older one. He's 9, and Gary's 8.
Okay. So which one is in the Gary is the one you said that was into the older ladies, right?
Oh, yeah. Gary, yeah. He's got
watch
2 girlfriends.
Watch out for that Gary guy. I was like Gary at his age. I'm just saying,
Gary
watch
has
out.
2 girlfriends, Paul, and they're best friends. And so they fight over him.
Wow. How old are these ladies?
They're all 8.
Okay, so they're the same age. They're not like 12 or anything like that.
But he's got plans to like get married, live in a cabin. Well, it's better than he was saying he was going to live in a tent so he didn't have to pay taxes. We had to break it to him that he would still have to pay taxes. But now he wants to live in a cabin. He wants to have 10 kids and a bunch of animals, and like he's
10 kids.
Yeah.
Make sure he's not living in sin.
Yeah, he said he might adopt some. So.
Oh, okay. Dang, must be a big cabin.
But he does. He's so sweet to the girls. I think that's what it is. You know,
it works.
He's just it's just so sweet, and they just love him. So
they just melt. They just melt. You know, you just give a lady a compliment, and that's it. And then that's it.
But he's been like that since he was 3. I mean, we found a video of him. Like, I totally forgot about this, but I think it was during COVID. So there was a camp that had like limited space during the summer or whatever. They didn't have like a whole bunch of kids, but they did it so that, you know, it was safe or whatever. So Gary and Jordan went. Well, there was a little girl there that Gary decided he loved her, but he, instead of asking for her phone number, he didn't know he was supposed to ask for her phone number. He kept asking for her password. And so Josh filmed a conversation with him where he goes, "Daddy, I just keep asking for her password and she won't give me her password." And he was like 5. It was so cute. But he's just obsessed with girls.
Well, that's good. That's good news. Also, how does a 5-year-old have a phone number? Like, what kind of number was you going to give?
He wanted her dad's phone number, I guess. Which I later had to tell him probably wasn't a good idea to call the dad.
Yeah, it's rough. You know? But once you win the dad over, though, it's smooth sailing. You know, so it's if he wants to go for the challenge, it's smart.
Yeah, well, he just, and Jordan could care less about girls. He's got his friends, and that's all he cares about.
Jordan cares about his career, right? Jordan's all about career.
He cares about Pokemon cards and video games.
There we go. And YouTube. Sounds like he's about to be a YouTuber, about to be a professional.
The cutest thing, though, is, you know, Josh is a firefighter. Most kids, you think, oh, they're going to be like, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be a firefighter. That's what most little kids are, you know, boys are like. Oh, no. They want to be like mommy. They want to have a YouTube channel.
There you go.
They want to sell stuff on the internet.
Boom. You taught them well.
Yeah, I'm like, that's pretty sweet. Like, that my kids, like, want to do what I do. So.
Did you think about getting a channel for him anytime soon, or like a TikTok or something?
So they used to want to have a YouTube channel, and we used to film stuff, but like I don't know about putting them on the internet because there's some
No,
creepers out there.
there are some creepers out there. There's one called Super Geeked. No,
Yeah,
not Super Geeked. Married Life. Married Life. Big creeper.
I'm gonna tell her you said that.
She can watch this back. This is getting posted.
She could kick your butt. She is. I tell her I'm like the quiet one, and I'm a little more like, I don't know, have social anxiety and stuff like that. And she is like the pit bull. So she's my bodyguard, and she's
Man,
like way tinier
I
than.
I ain't scared. That's all I'm saying. I ain't scared. She would
But
need
it's
like
funny
a
because I'm so much bigger than her, and she's tiny, and
uh,
she's the scrapper.
yeah. Well, you have to be when you're tiny. You have to be scrappy. So
Well, we had a situation one time. I did a YouTube video about this. So the closest bins to us is in Mobile, which is 45 minutes from here. It's in Alabama. And we used to go, and there was a group of flea market sellers, and they were rough. I mean,
yeah,
they get
they
in
usually
there.
are. They
Oh
usually are.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there was this one lady who basically felt like she ran the place. She had her own little chair, and she would sit in her chair, and her little friends would go and get stuff out of the bins for her and bring it to her. And
Whoa.
there was this whole crew there. They did not like when we came in because we were filming, number one, and they felt like we were telling their secrets of their secret place called the Goodwill. Well, it's actually called the Bargain Store. It wasn't even called the Outlet, but we were telling their secret to all the universe.
Yes.
So they
So
decide they're
far,
going to
so
pick on
far,
me.
I'm on their side so far. But keep going.
So they decide one day they're going to pick on me. Now, grant you, I'll put this out there. I definitely had permission to film in there. Goodwill from their area shares a lot of my YouTube videos on their social media. And so they knew I was filming there. They like to watch my videos, whatever. And so, I had permission to film in there. So I go in there, and I had just got this brand new, like, little tripod that I could hook onto the baskets and put my phone on. And I, put it on there, whatever. Had just walked in. Alicia and Tanya, and this is the first time Tanya had ever been to the bins with us. They beeline to the bins. I'm by myself. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up and he's screaming at me, ma'am. And he's not close to me. He's like, across the store. And he was like, we don't want you filming in here, and like yelling at me. And then he's coming towards me, and I'm like, oh shit. So like I turned off my phone, and
You
literally
turn off your phone?
yeah, I
This
turned it
is
off.
gold content right here. What are you
Listen,
doing?
I was freaked out.
Sean, I'm
And
disappointed in you.
so he's yelling at me, and he's like, and I said, I'm not recording it. And he tries to touch my phone, like went for my phone. And I said, don't touch my phone. And I'm just trying to de-escalate the situation. I go to the back wall where the bins were, the bins were lined up, and I'm going to go dig up. He's following me around. He follows me all over the store. And then his friends start screaming from across the floor. Now, meanwhile, my friends, Alicia and Tanya, are oblivious to what the hell's going on. They didn't hear a dang thing.
They're bins
They're
deep. They're
steady in the
digging.
bins, like not even paying attention. And my friend Alexis, who lives over there, came over, and she was like, they're just upset. I said, Alexis, I turned my camera off. I am not recording. I'm not recording. And she's like, I know. I told him you had permission. I told him that, they share all your social media, your stuff on social media. And I said, I just want to be left alone to dig in the bins. I'm not going to record it all. Like, just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone. Yeah.
Well, so Alexis goes over to where Tanya and Alicia are, and are like telling them. And also, this is the first time I had ever been recognized out for my YouTube channel. This girl had come up to me and says, this was, a while ago. She's like, I watch your YouTube channel. And she was so sweet. And so this is the same day as the first time I'm getting recognized for my YouTube channel. So anyway, she and Alexis walked over to tell Tanya and Alicia what's going on. I make my way towards the bins they've been digging in, oblivious. And here comes the whole crew over here. This lady comes up, or this young girl comes up to me.
Sounds like West Side Story over here, man.
No, it gets better. So this lady comes up to me. She's a young girl. She goes, "Ma'am, they don't want you recording in here." And I didn't realize at the time, but she worked at the store. And I said, "I'm not recording. I turned my camera off. I am not recording." And she's like, "Well, they just don't want you to record." I said, "I'm not recording." Like, how many times do I have to say it? And then they start screaming across the store. Well, here goes Bulldog Alicia. She starts yelling at them, like snapping back at them about recording and how we're allowed to record. And what if they were in Walmart and like all this stuff, like just like going off top. Then they start getting in Tanya's face. Tanya goes, "You don't know me. I've never been here before." And I'm just
you start like, a whole Jets and Sharks kind of thing over here, man.
I'm like, why is this happening? Like, I'm just like, want to be out of here.
I'm so mad you weren't recording. This is great footage. This would have been great.
Everything calms down. Alicia and Tanya have said their piece. The other people stop screaming. They tell us to get behind the line because they're pulling out bins. They're going to change out the bins. We're all standing in a group. And this other lady comes up to me and she goes, now they pulled the bins out. Everybody starts running over the bins. And I'm still standing there because this lady walks up. She goes, "Yeah, they don't want you recording in here." I said, "I am not recording." At this point, I'm getting irritated because I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm not recording. And the man who's been screaming at me the whole time comes up and starts yelling again. And she's like, "Sir, I'm handling this, sir." And so I come to find out she is the actual manager of the location. And she goes, "Oh, I've seen your videos. Like, I love your videos. My son showed them to me at first. You know, I've watched," you know, she was describing a bunch of my videos of driving over there. And she said, "I really don't want you to have a bad time." You know, I said, "Look, I have permission to record in here, but I will get something from corporate in writing because I do not want to be harassed by anybody." And she's like, "Well," you know, she was real sweet. So I'm obviously upset, you know, because this dude continues to follow me around. And the rest of this visit, he'd go in a bin next to me, Paul, and like talk to some other person who's there, like, "Yeah, they think they can come in here and tell all of our secrets. They act like they know what we're doing in here. They don't even know what to sell." Like, just like saying like stupid stuff.
Just all this mad crap. Like you're not there.
Yeah. So anyway, we left. I was upset. I was proud of myself for not crying because this dude was just harassing me, you know. And Alicia and Tanya, you know, they were already over it because they're like, you know, they don't care, but I'm sensitive, you know, so it like bothered me.
Yeah.
So I go home and I said, "You know what? I'm not going to go back to the bins. I don't want to be in that situation again." You know, I know when Bob was on your podcast, she talked about, you know, not wanting to wear a GoPro because it's like weird. So I'm the same way. Like, I don't want like a lot of attention. So like, I feel weird about that kind of stuff. And so the fact that this dude's following me around screaming at me and everybody's like, you know, it was very awkward. So I reached out to my contact with the Goodwill and told her about what happened. I said, "Look, I'm not complaining. I don't want to cause any trouble. I just want you to know this in case it happens to somebody else, because I'm just not going to go back. I don't care what you say or do. I'm not going back there." And she immediately said, "The vice president wants to call you." So he called me right away. I thought he'd call me Monday. It was Saturday. He called me within 20 minutes.
Wow.
So he got on the phone. He said, "I am so sorry. We love y'all promoting our stores. We love you recording in the stores. You know, we want you to do it. I mean, obviously they'd be stupid not to because it's free marketing for them."
Yeah.
You know? So he said, "We're pulling the cameras right now. I've already talked to the manager." So he had already talked to the lady I talked to. And, you know, I said, "She was great. You know, she was wonderful. She was real sweet." And so they pulled the cameras, took the guy's picture off the camera, posted his picture at the register, banned him from the store. And so my
You
friend Alexis,
whistleblowed again. You just a career-long whistleblower.
my friend Alexis was laughing. She's like, because she goes to the bins like every week because she lives there, and she goes, his picture's by the register. It says banned. And so I was like, okay, well maybe I'll go back. And so that was
now whenever somebody gives you a hard time, I said you just say, hey, you want to get banned? That should be a response. Somebody gives you a hard time.
Well, and I don't feel so bad because he gave me his cell phone number. He said, if it ever happens in any of our stores, call me right away. We'll handle it.
Dang.
You know, whatever. And it's not like I go in the store and record other people, but I think what set them off was I did film something that was funny. Alexis told me that they had stopped putting shoe bins out because the flea market sellers, you couldn't get in there. I mean, they're throwing elbows, like you're getting put, like they're rough. So what they started doing was the manager or the assistant manager of the store, not the lady I talked to, but another lady who ran the front, she would put all the shoes in a shopping cart. She would push them through the double doors.
And they just attack it like it's
and
like bread.
It. Yes. So Alexis goes,
tackled the cart.
Yeah. So this is before I got harassed by the guy. Alexis goes, it's about to happen. So I put my camera up and I filmed them coming through the she literally pushed the cart through and they're just like all over it. So I filmed at that point. I was trying TikTok a little bit. I had filmed, for, I had it on my YouTube channel, whatever, but I didn't have a huge following. Alicia was already like through the roof as far as following. I gave her the clip too that I had filmed. Hers got so many more views. Well, apparently they saw that clip and they were mad about it. So I think that's what really sparked this whole, so it's kind of my fault.
I mean, sounds like everything's your fault and you're just tattling on everybody. That's what it sounds like.
That's the story of my life.
So have you gone back since, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, so it's changed a lot. The flea market sellers that used to be there, they don't go anymore.
Yeah, they got banned.
Real chill. Yeah.
You banned all of them.
Well, it's like I was nervous to go back because I didn't want to be in that situation again, but it's really chill now. Like it's not like that. And like Tanya and Alicia are going Monday. I may go meet them over there because they've been going a lot without me. So
that's breaking news.
I don't find a lot of Well, I don't find a lot of stuff at that bins. Like I like driving to the bins that's like 3 hours from us because it's like I find tons of stuff. But I usually if I go to that bins, it's just to hang out with the girls. So it's like fun.
Sense. I mean, it definitely makes sense.
But I am a troublemaker because when I was in kindergarten, I wrote my best friend's name on the stall in the bathroom. But I was smart enough that
wait. What'd you write? You just wrote her name?
I wrote Dallas. I wrote her name on the wall, and we got in trouble because I wrote it with a crayon. I mean, it's like it come off. It's not. I mean, I was 5. It's not like I had a Sharpie.
We're doing graffiti since you were 5.
I was smart, Paul. I was smart. The lady who ran the daycare lined us all up and made us all write Dallas's name to see whose handwriting matched. I changed my handwriting and misspelled her name on purpose. Oh,
so it's like you knew you were about to get called out. So so somebody else got in trouble for it?
So my friends Candy and Blakeney got spankings. And I told them when we were in high school, I was like, hey, remember that time in like kindergarten? That was me.
Oh my goodness. You're terrible.
I am. Living in sin.
Yeah, I've been living in sin since you were 5. I see that, man. Okay, as long as you can just go confess it, right? You're good.
But I hide all this on YouTube. See, I have this,
Oh yeah, well, do you know this is also going to be on YouTube? I don't know if you're aware of where this is going.
Hopefully, it's a different audience.
People will see who the real Victoria is. I see that now. Yeah, man, this is a lot of fun, man. I got to, You know, after this talk, I actually kind of want to go to Biloxi and hang out.
We're
Just
fun. We
just
have a
with you
lot of
though, not with the other two.
Don't tell them that because they're always like picking on me. They're like, oh, because you said that one thing in that one YouTube video that like that you watch my YouTube videos for like most of the women's fashion or whatever. And they were
Yes.
like, wait, what about us?
I don't have time to watch everybody. If I want to watch mediocre content, I'll put Alicia's on sometimes. But I actually want to watch good videos.
No, we have a good time.
I remember, I don't know if this is when you guys were half drunk or not, when you were in Destiny with Jesse. And I messaged you guys saying, oh, look, there's Jesse. I love her content the most. And you sent me like all these like pictures of all you guys just giving me the bird. Then Jesse
that was
just like
in
smiling.
Biloxi.
That was in Biloxi. That wasn't in Destiny. Yeah.
So that night, because on my iPhone, it'll like it comes up with like a little like I don't know, it makes a video for you of like a montage of like. So it made a montage. It made a montage of that night, and all those pictures I sent you of us flipping you off and making mean faces is like the montage. It was like super funny.
Yeah, I was like, they went all serious. Like, get all these angry faces, and then just Jesse's just smiling, all happy.
It's just so funny how we all became friends because I really feel like we probably would not have ever crossed paths. And even like with the thing with Jesse, I mean, Jesse lives in St. Louis, but
Yeah,
you know, Alicia reached out to her and did like a collab. I found Bob on YouTube because she loves mid-century modern stuff too.
yeah.
And she did roller derby. I did roller derby. And like we, you know, listened to some of the same music. And so that's how we became friends and sort of got brought into the group. And then one year, Bob is like, hey, I just bought an airline ticket. And then Jesse goes, I guess I better get one too. And then they came down and we've just been like friends since. So
Yeah. And that's how I found out about you guys, is through Bob. When she had her midday live show or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then and it's talking about, I think it was like one of those like Posh Fest shows or something. I don't know. I was like new to the whole YouTube game. And I think she had you, Jesse, and Alicia on. And I was like, all right, if they're cool with Bob, they're cool with me. So boom.
Yeah.
And so that's
we,
how
it was the Hot Mess Express, the Hot Mess Reseller Express.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
accurate.
said, let's name it the Hot Mess Express. And she said the Hot Mess Reseller Express. But
gotta put reseller in there somewhere.
That's how we became friends. Is Alicia and I knew each other from living close to each other. I found Bob on YouTube. She found Jesse on YouTube, and we just sort of all became friends.
Boom.
And then, of course, Tanya lives here too. So we got a whole crew.
It's a Hot Mess Express, that's for sure.
It's fun. I mean,
and it seems like,
Chris drives over. He lives 3 hours away, and he'll drive over to see us.
Oh,
so
3 hours is not 9 hours in my defense.
It is a long way, but there's got to be stuff you can do on the way.
Yeah, sure.
You got to have ladies in every zip code, and then that way.
I do. I'm like ludicrous, but it seems like to me from all the pictures that all your husbands get along too, or is that just like?
Well, yeah, they're all, but they're like us. They're all different personalities, you know. Now Tanya's husband is also from Ohio, so Josh and him are Bengals fans. They're Ohio State fans. In fact,
oh wow, that's crazy.
When Ohio State's playing, I'll text Tanya and be like, "Is he still watching this game? This is so stupid. It's like 37-0. Like, why are they still watching this game?"
They want to go up to 50.
Yeah, she's like still watching. So. You know, Tim and Josh have bonded over that. Brandon's hilarious. I mean, he's like a big kid. He cracks me up. Alicia's husband.
Yeah.
And Jesse's husband's the same way. So we just all kind of get along.
That's crazy. You know? Just like YouTube, or I guess even before YouTube, just Poshmark brought all you guys together. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's awesome. Man.
Yeah, it worked out.
Man, that's the beautiful part about this, man. It's like YouTube. One of the benefits is obviously the money. Like, money is good. It's good to get the paycheck, but like the friends you make and stuff on it is like awesome. Like when I went to FlipCon to see the people that actually been like friends with online, actually see them like in person, I was like, whoa, like people like Bob, like me and Bob been friends, but we never met until FlipCon. Becky, Ray, Nashville Flippers, Art of Resell, people like I just was friends with online. Just see them in person was pretty sweet. But you didn't
so
want to
Bob-
go.
Well, Bob, I hung out with Bob the month before she came up there to go hang
Yeah.
out with you. And I said, man, you're going there? She's like, yeah, Paul really, talked me into it. And of course, I told you I farted in her seat.
You
before
did.
You sat there.
That's what I heard.
Because I got to ride in the Bronco first. I was the first rider in the Bronco.
Yeah, that's a sexy car, man. That Bronco is sexy.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
she came and picked me up. She drove an hour because she lives an hour from Richmond, and that's where my cousins live. So she came and picked me up. We went thrifting and everything. So, but yeah, she was like super excited that she was going to be going to FlipCon. I said, dang, now I need to go. Like I feel like I need to go and hang out.
Should have went. It was a fun time.
Everybody would have been distracted by my amazingness. Nobody would have paid attention to you.
Doubtful. There was enough amazingness to go around. People would have been fine with your glamour and mine at the same time. It would have been good.
Yeah. But that's fun. Yeah, her Bronco is awesome. I'm like, it's pretty. That color is pretty. And her drawer, did you see the drawer?
A drawer? No.
She got a custom drawer in the back of it for reselling.
Oh, really?
She can pull it out and it's got all these divided sections. So when we went thrifting, like, she likes to sell mugs. So she got a bunch of mugs and she like just wrapped them up and then like put them in this drawer. It's this big metal drawer. I was like,
wow, that's cool. Yeah, no, I didn't see it. I wasn't checking out her backside. No, I was just checking out the front of the Bronco. I wasn't checking out the back.
How could you miss the backside?
She parked it in reverse, so I saw it was the front.
I always say her and Alicia are stacked in the back.
I'm done. It's a good way. It's a good way to end the show. Just with that. Just they're both stacked in the back. Anyways,
your mom jokes.
Where can people find you, Victoria? Where would be a good way to look you up? Instagram and YouTube. What should I link? What should I link down below?
Yeah, I'm super geeked on Instagram and YouTube. Facebook, I don't update as much as I should. So, but everything's super geeked. So
super geeked.
Yeah.
So kind of like super freak, but super geeked.
Sort of.
I see where you got the idea from.
Super geek, like you're super geeked about something you're super passionate about.
Super geek. She's super geeky, like that.
Josh was gonna write. We didn't know if we get copyrighted for that, so he wrote my theme song.
That
if you ever listen at the end of my videos, Josh, that's Josh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he plays music. So
creative little man.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast. I hope you had fun. I had fun. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Make sure you guys are following Victoria. I'll drop her links. She is more tame on her videos, guys. She's not this crazy.
True story.
Thank you for coming on. This was awesome.